like, oh, this is just what I was craving.
In my head.
Hey everyone, I'm back at it in the woods today, trying to beat the sun again. We got some noisy birds, but today we're going to talk about some surprising, some shocking, some unexpected reasons that we have abusive relationships, some signs that we may have overlooked. Let's talk about those. I apologize for the noisy birds, I can't really control that, but before we get into these signs of an abusive relationship, what I would like to mention is that these have to be patterns before they become abuse. I don't want this to become like a witch hunt and you watch this video and you think to yourself, oh my god, I'm in an abusive relationship, or I'm abusing my partner. So just be aware that this has to be something that's been going on over and over and over again. And so this is just to kind of like point you in the direction and get you thinking about something that you may be experiencing. The first sign that I would say would indicate that you could be in a relationship that's abusive would actually be that there's like some really hot sex going on, that you just can't get enough of the other person or they can't get enough of you, and it's amazing. You know that feeling when you first meet somebody and you dive in and you're like, oh, this is so great, I finally found the one, we can really enjoy this and celebrate each other. It's that feeling, but there could be a sign that something's wrong, so let's talk about why. You know when you eat a whole bunch of bad food for you, greasy food, oily food, and it feels amazing because you're like, oh, this is just what I was craving, but then afterwards it doesn't feel so good, and you kind of have this like up and down relationship with it. Maybe you've experienced the same thing with alcohol or something else in your life that's really enjoyable, maybe video games. It's that kind of like addicted feeling. That can happen with sex too, and that can happen with your partner, and it's usually an indication that there's something unhealthy about the relationship. You know, there's a reason why people like make-up sex, because you have this low in your relationship and then it quickly bounces back up to a high when you have that sex. But that pattern of low to high, and having intense, amazing sex is actually probably not a good indication of a healthy relationship. So be cautious if this is something that you're experiencing. Now the moment has finally come that you've been waiting for. They're finally proposing to you, or you're going to propose to them. You're going to talk about kids and you're going to get moving with this relationship. Again, this could be a sign of abuse, and it doesn't sound abusive on the surface, and I know a lot of these things that I'm saying, they're not going to sound like they are, and in many cases they aren't, but there's reasons why you have to consider that they could be signs of an abusive relationship. So let's talk about why marriage or kids could be a problem. When it comes to marriage or kids, these are long-term investments, and if you haven't been in a relationship long enough and you haven't had these conversations about what you desire in this relationship, then you either don't know what your partner wants or you haven't expressed to your partner what you want, and they don't get to make that decision for you. So if it feels like it's being rushed, if it feels like it's coming on too strong, that could be an indication that your partner or you don't see your partner as somebody, as a real person, as somebody to make these decisions with and somebody to carefully consider things with and plan things out with, because again, these are long-term investments and you really have to think about finances, where you're living, how you're going to handle, how you're going to raise kids, what marriage is going to be like for you, what does it mean to both of you, all important things to discuss. Here's another one that you might not expect. You're getting comfortable in the relationship. You know what to expect, you know that your partner comes home at the same time every day, and you know when dinner is going to be served, and you just know your routine and it feels comfortable, feels alright. That could also be a sign of an abusive relationship. Let's talk about why that is. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, abuse is a pattern, and if you're getting into this pattern of the way that you do things, it may seem and feel comfortable, but what you might not be acknowledging is that you have lost a lot of your emotions for the relationship, and you're not really feeling a kinship with your partner. It's just kind of like they're a housemate or roommate or just somebody that's in your life. That's not really a relationship, and you're probably not getting your relationship needs met if that's the way that things are going on. So you have to think about, is this the way that I want my relationship to be? Am I comfortable because I'm in a pattern of abuse that I've just gotten used to? Think about it. Maybe your partner actually wants to spend a lot of time with you, or maybe you want to spend a ton of time with your partner, and that feels great because it feels like you're rekindling things, you're connecting. That could also be a sign of an abusive relationship. Again, these are unexpected and shocking and weird signs, so what's the deal here? So the deal is that when we enter into a relationship, and this is going to sound a little crazy, I understand, but it's kind of the way it is, we seek out partners that sort of remind us of our parents, because our parents are our first template for what a relationship should look like. And so when we seek out somebody so strongly, maybe we're looking to take care of them the way our parents would take care of us, or maybe we're looking to be taken care of the way that we wanted our parents to take care of us. When there's that really strong desire for connection, sometimes it's an unhealthy desire for connection, and it's because we're not feeling settled and comfortable in ourselves as individuals. So take note of that and consider if it's something that's going on in your relationship. Somewhat related to this, is your partner buying you a lot of gifts? Are they showering you with affection? Is this something that maybe you're doing to them? That could also be an unhealthy behavior. Now, as far as gifts goes, if anybody's trying to financially tie you in and make you indebted to them, that's a dangerous position to be in. You should always be independent and welcome to feel yourself and in control of your own money. So that's one thing to take note of. Something else to take note of is this person actually buying you gifts because they see you as a person? Are the gifts actually things that you would even want? Or are they just things that are generic and they're meant to make you fall in love with the person or feel indebted to that person? If they can't show you affection in any other way other than buying you gifts, then there could be a problem with the relationship. Sort of related to what I'm talking about here, if they start to talk about you in a positive way to everybody and tell everybody how wonderful you are and how great you are, that could be another problem, because if you don't feel like you're such a wonderful person, if you don't feel like your relationship is going well, they may be trying to control what the relationship looks like to other people, and that's dangerous when you don't have a voice. So that's something you'd want to talk with them about and get an understanding of exactly what's going on. They may also be trying to get you to feel like you have to live up to this expectation that they're setting for the relationship. And again, that's a little bit controlling, so you want to be cautious about that. Now, if they use a lot of terms of endearment that maybe aren't so nice, that could be a problem too. You'll see what I'm talking about. So we all use different words to relate to our partner, to kind of label them and be cutesy. We might call them honey, sweetie. We might say that they're our man or they're a woman, our boy or a girl. But the inflection on these words can turn really dark really quickly, especially words like my bitch, my asshole, or like any kind of word that normally would be derogatory. I know in the beginning it can be kind of cute, but it very quickly, when things go wrong in a relationship, it can be used to put somebody down and to emotionally abuse them. So if that's going on, beware. Something else that's related to the gift giving and maybe even the marriage and the kids and that kind of stuff is if they surprise you a lot. Normally we think of surprises as a good thing. We see that our partner's paying attention to us. We think that they care about us. But when it happens over and over again, it could be that they're trying to knock you off kilter. Especially if you're in the middle of an argument, things haven't been going so well, and then all of a sudden they surprise you with something. It could be a little disconcerting, and it might be a little disingenuous. They may not actually mean what they're saying, and so if this is a repeated behavior, you got to be cautious. I just want to make clear here that you're not in the clear when it comes to all of these things as well. I'm saying this all about your partner, but what is your behavior in all of this? Because we all have the capacity to be abusive. I've been abusive in past relationships, and if I didn't stop to think about what I was doing, why I was doing it, and how it affected our relationship, then I would have never had the opportunity to grow and to develop healthy relationships with people. Now, if you're hearing all of this, the best thing to do would be express how you're feeling to your partner and to discuss these things. Of course, if that doesn't feel safe, then you should be talking with a domestic violence shelter or a therapist. If you know this is a problematic relationship, stop doubting it, get out of the relationship. But if you really need an outside opinion because you're confused, you're not sure of what's going on, find a couples therapist and let them be an impartial judge to what's going on. Now, I can't possibly cover all the surprising ways that a relationship could be abusive. I'd love to hear from you. What are some surprising ways that you've experienced? Maybe you were abusive, maybe your partner was. It really doesn't matter. Let me know what the signs were for you down below and let our community know so that we can talk with each other and learn. If you need some greater understanding right now, I have over 250 videos on mental health on my channel, and I've got plenty on emotional abuse, gaslighting, all that kind of stuff. So hit subscribe, hit the bell after you hit subscribe to get notified each time that I do a new video. I hope that this video has helped to humanize mental health, and I hope it's gotten you to see that there are nuances to all of this and that people may be abusive, people may not be abusive, but you got to be a little bit careful about how things are. So if you're on board with my mission of humanizing mental health, then go on over to Patreon. You can support me over there. I'll put the link above. As always, thank you for sticking with me until the sun goes down. I'll see you around next time, everybody.